This program proudly brought to you by Centrebet. No other bookie offers a tote guarantee on your fixed odds bets.
We're here at Coogee Bay at the home of a member of the Australian Racing Hall of Fame. He captured Group 1s as a jockey all around the world and also as a trainer. Today we're spending time with Ron Quinton. Do you think you were born to be a jockey?
Well, I always wanted to be. I think at first off I wanted to be a policeman when I was going to primary school, but that certainly went out the window. But I really liked riding horses, and I was small, and Dad was a horseman. The lady that Dad worked for had race horses. So, yeah, it became pretty natural that I was going to go that way.
Have you got a first memory of the first time you ever rode a horse? How old were you?
I had Mrs. Rowley gave me my first pony when I was 2, and Dad couldn't afford to have a saddle, so I had to learn to ride bareback.
Wow.
So that's where it all started. And then when I was just almost 16, I joined Theo Green Stables, and thank God that happened because he was just the best master of all time.
Can you remember your first race ride?
Yeah, I do. It was at Randwick in a 2,000 metre race.
Yeah.
Those days we only had to ride in one barrier trial prior to riding.
Right.
And I just followed them around.
Yeah.
And I remember the old boss saying, "How did it feel?" "Felt okay, boss."
Yeah.
"Did you know where you were?" "Didn't have a clue." So, yeah, so it took a little while to get going, but I won on the same horse at my third ride, so got going reasonably quickly.
The transition from apprentice to senior rider, for you, from afar, seems seamless.
Yeah, well, I sort of basically moved to Randwick in '69 when I come out of my apprenticeship to ride work for Neville Begg and TJ.
Yep.
And that was an introduction from Theo Green to Neville Begg, and I started there, and I gradually grew. I grew with Neville, and our association lasted over 20 years. I'm sure there was days he probably wanted to sack me, but...
A picture of, no doubt, the one that's got the special place in your heart, Emancipation.
Yes, yeah, I won 18 races on her. She won 19 races out of 27, so I was lucky enough to win 18 on her. She was a great champion mare. And I had a bit of a superstition. I used to always have a red towel on her.
Right.
And, yeah, it was a bit of a superstition, but I always had that red towel under her. And some of her wins were just unbelievable. And one in particular was the race at Warwick Farm. I think it was at Chipping Norton.
Yep.
They went out the first 4 in 46, and she won that day. That was they just galloped the whole mile that day, and she won, albeit narrowly.
Yeah.
And then of course she won a couple of George Riders.
Yeah.
And she won the Doncaster as a 3-year-old filly carrying 1.5 overweight for age.
Extraordinary effort. In Victoria, we probably didn't get to see the best of her. I know she was tested in a Cox Plate and the like, and many Victorian viewers of this show will probably had a different opinion to those from Sydney.
She wasn't as adaptable to travel away as she was at home. Like, she went to Melbourne, she was unbeaten at Flemington, Edward Manifold and the Carbine Club Stakes.
Yep.
Cox Plate, one run at Moonee Valley, hung badly, got put through the fence at the 1600. Caulfield didn't go there. So she wasn't adaptable like Sunline was.
Yeah.
But she was a great mare in her own right, you know.
And beat champions, you know, winning at Group 1 level, defeating Manikato, winning at Group 1 level, defeating Strawberry Road on a couple of occasions. These are elite horses.
Oh, there's no question about that. You go back through the old DVDs and you see the horses she did beat.
Yeah.
They were really classy horses.
Talk about your 4 Golden Slipper winners, your 1982 Masqué. You backed up the next year and won on 83 on Sir Dapper, a horse who had a great rivalry with Emancipation. 85 Rory's Jester, 87 Marauding. Who was the best of those?
Probably, it's hard to sort them out, but Masqué was the dominant 2-year-old all year.
Yep.
and Jack Denham said he'll win the slipper.
Yep.
And Jack was spot on, which he did. He won the slipper well. As I say, the dominant 2-year-old all year in Sydney. Sadappa had only been beaten once leading into the slipper. Yep. And that's how I come to get on him. Morris Lowe was beaten on him in a 5-horse field, and I got the call up, and he won. And I thought he was a certainty to win.
Yep.
And then, of course, Rory's. I picked the ride up on him after the barrier draw, because Darren Gouchy had a fall at Ballarat, and he drew 2 barrier, and that won him the race.
Yeah.
I don't think had he drawn outside 6 or 7, he wouldn't have won.
Yep.
And then, of course, marauding was by Sir Tristram, who was unheard of a Sir Tristram maybe winning a golden slipper.
Yeah.
And he got back, and actually Jimmy Cassidy helped me get the ride on him.
Yeah.
Jimmy got put out, and he said to me, you should approach Brian Mayfield-Smith and try and get on him, because he's got a great chance.
Yeah.
I got well back, but he was a powerhouse horse.
Yeah. This photo is amazing. When people first see this photo, they'll be, who are you riding there?
Yeah, well, that's actually in the Todd River at Alice Springs, and the horse is none other than Kingston Town.
What was he doing in Alice Springs?
He was up there for the Alice Springs Cup, not to run in it, but he'd been retired, and Cole, the Pepper chap who used to look after him, they took him all around the country showing him to the public and all the race meetings, and he happened to be there that time. So, yeah, it's a great photo.
Miracle Mal, your good mate, is associated with Kingston Town, but the second of his Cox plates in 1981, you were lucky enough to be the pilot. Your very first race ride on him, what a star.
Yeah, he was, I guess in my era of 30 years of racing or whatever, he's the one that stands out to, we've got to say, he's the best we've seen in that time. Well, I had a few little issues in the race, and it was actually quite funny because I rode Sovereign Red in the Cox Plate the year before as a 3-year-old, and I got hemmed away on the fence on him from 1 alley 2.
Yeah.
And Pat Layla, the steward those days down there, called me in after Sovereign Red, and he said, what happened? I said, well, I couldn't get out, you know. I couldn't get out and get going. He said, when you ride here, we expect you to get out and get going.
Right.
And he just left it at that. And, of course, a couple of little brushes of interference on Kingston Town. And so there was actually, we got called in again. It wasn't very much, but he said, oh, what happened on the home turn? I said, I just give one a bit of a nudge, you know. And he said, oh, yeah. He said, oh, anything further you'd like to say? I said, yes. Last year you told me to get out and get going. I did this year.
Yeah. Describe to us your experience racing overseas.
I absolutely loved it. It was very different to Australian racing.
Yep. But
John Ox was one of the finest gentlemen I've ever met in my life. And we had some good success. That actual photo was my 2000th winner. Yeah, so that was a pretty special day. And so the next one there is the first runner we ever had for the Aga Khan.
Right.
And he won. John wanted to make sure that the first runner we had for him it won, and it did. So it worked out really well.
It's a bit of pressure on you on that occasion. If you set up and said, I want to make sure we launch off for the Aga Khan in style.
That's right. Well, you know.
There's no one around you. You've won easily.
He won easy enough on the day, yep.
And they're famous colours. And now, especially in Australia, all around the world, Sheikh Mohammed's colours are extremely famous.
Yeah, well, Sheikh Mohammed was the reason I went to Ireland for John. And that was a Group 1 win. It was the Moy Glare Stud Stakes, and she won. So, yeah, started the ball rolling good. This one here was the Irish St Ledger, which we just managed to get home on. She was actually a good filly. She would have been a good filly and a good mare in Australia, that one, because she had speed, and she would have been ideal for Australian standards, really.
Yeah. I tell you what, you must, considering how many champions that you rode, you must be a good horse for you to put a picture on your wall.
Capalaran was one of the best fillies I ever had anything to do with. She was owned by Mr. Kawanko of Guri fame. She only started 9 times for 6 wins. probably should have won the Champion Stakes on her. Was unlucky, bad ride, bad run. And then she went to Melbourne, won the 1,000 guineas, and subsequently just got beat in the Wakefall, third in the Oaks, and that was the end of her career. She broke down in the autumn. So she was a wonderful filly. She was superstar.
Coming back to Australia, your career kicked on. How much longer did you ride for, and then what made your decision to finally hang up the saddle?
Well, I rode in Ireland. The last year I rode in Ireland was 1990, and I retired from riding in 93. I come back here. Neville Begg had gone to Hong Kong, and Graham Begg was taken over his stable.
Yep.
And when you're away, you know, other people come in, and I was sort of I was in the 40 mark then, and we were finding those days that once you get to that stage, you tend to get pushed aside a bit. So I rode for a couple more years, and I thought I was riding well, but I wasn't getting the opportunities that I was used to getting, probably a little bit spoilt too.
Yeah.
And I decided that what I'd do is probably go training.
Yep.
And I could have rode for another couple of years easily, but I thought I should get this moving, get it going a bit, and in a couple of years I might have it going all right, you know.
Was it a natural progression to train horses? You would have been, obviously, you've ridden around the world, so you've absorbed plenty of ideas from some of the great trainers in the world?
No question about that, because I rode feature winners for all the best trainers here in Australia, like the Colin Hayes, the Barts, the Tommies, the Neville Beggs. If I've missed someone, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then the overseas experience was just wonderful as well. And yes, it was a natural way to go. I didn't know anything else anyway.
Yeah.
It was just the best thrill having my first winner as a trainer. It was at Gosford.
Yep.
And I took my old boss Theo up for the day, and I said, I think this could just about win. And at one, we sat in the stand, and it was just a wonderful feeling, you know, like I'd ridden all those winners, but just to spend that much time with a horse, it's such a long process.
Yeah.
And then get there and win, it was a great feeling.
Ron, to get the big double, Group 1 winners as a jockey and then as a trainer, when you get the Group 1s, it gives you the validation that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, well, you know, like, and even just recently we've had a bit of a good run off a small team of horses, but it's a bit irrelevant. Like, you can have 50 horses in training, and you might not have a group horse.
Yeah.
But I've just had a bit of a lucky streak lately. I've just had a couple that have been going really well, and they've done us proud.
Family's obviously such a massive impact on your life, and your father there. I love this photo. The connection with you with the horse, but also the farm. Yeah, well, I had a farm in the country for about 17 years, and Dad ran it for me, and pretty drought time at the time of that photo. But it was a great time for me to be able to support Dad and Mum on a property, because he only ever worked for other people all his life, and it just give him something, and it was really great. And my kids spent a lot of time there on their holidays, and it was just fabulous for my kids to go there. In 2006, when you were inducted into Australian Racing Hall of Fame, must have been a huge honour. Very, very special to be able to join with some of those guys that are already there. Just unbelievable feeling, and I've just felt that, it was recognition that I really appreciated. And to be alongside some of your peers, but also to be alongside your great master, Theo Green, as well? Exactly right. A great... Theo Green was the biggest influence on my racing career. A couple of men have had a great influence on me, and that was my dad. Give me a good start off in life, and then Theo, just unbelievable, put me on the right track all the way along, and I haven't run too far off the track.
This program proudly brought to you by Centrebet. No other bookie offers a tote guarantee on your fixed odds bets.